Welcome to Tokyo. Here is Koredo-to, the home of one of the best theaters in all of Tokyo, Toho Cinema's Nihonbashi. Just finished watching TRON ARES. What a not an excruciating cinematic experience. I mean, visually, it's fantastic. They got the right angles, and city streets, and characters looking threatening with low angle shots, and it's a great looking film, especially in the cinema. Great soundtrack with the one and only Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails. But I think what really hurts the film, the dialogue. Dialogue is just this robotic, repetitive thing trying to get through. I mean, you have Jared Leto playing Ares, and he enters into the real world, so to speak. And he's saying one thing or another, and then the other characters, like the other main cast, the woman from what's that film called? Past Lives. And all she does is just repeats the same things that Jared Leto character Ares says, and wow, that is just really, really boring to watch throughout the film. Tron Ares, I don't know. I think you can wait for streaming to watch it. Although, if you go in for the soundtrack, I think you'll enjoy that at least. I mean, the film looked great, but wow, that dialogue was so distracting because there's really no subtext to it. I'm doing this. Oh, you're doing that? Yeah. Oh, that's about the extent of the dialogue in the film. I think another thing that hurts the film that seems to be a pattern of a lot of the Disney movies, especially, what is it, Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, why are all the heroes these insanely rich people? You look at, Iron Man and the Avengers, Tony Stark, this billionaire, rich playboy philanthropist who has everything in the palm of his hands, and it's pretty much the same in this film as well, with the character of Eve, CEO of this huge company that makes video games, pretty much. And it just makes me ask the question, why are all these Disney films, the heroes are rich people? I mean, I think there's something going on there. Tell me what you think in the comments. Not that there's anything wrong with rich people, but I think as far as, telling a big blockbuster story, I mean, audiences like to see, someone who's, kind of down and out and, rising from the ashes to, uplift the spirits of not only the character, him or herself, but, the world around them. So I wonder if Disney is really, falling short by choosing rich people who have all the resources available to them as their primary heroes. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think one of the things that really hurts the film is the relationship between Ares and Eve. Eve, she's, the CEO of a huge company who is continuing her sister's work with artificial intelligence. And Jared Leto's character, Ares, who plays the perfect weapon, so to speak, trying to find the permanence code so that he can continue on living before the 29 minutes that he's able to live in the real world. I think why it doesn't work is because he wants to help her, which is, a great thing. But he wants to help her because of empathy he feels for her after looking into her past. But I think what would have worked a lot better is if he actually was more curious about Eve's sister, who died of cancer in the film, and have more of a connection with Eve's sister rather than Eve. I think that could have been an avenue that they should have built the whole relationship between them around. I mean, the possibilities of, jealousy, so to speak. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Having Eve, just, how do I say, loving her sister, but as far as stories, there's got to be conflict. And I mean, if you have siblings like myself, I mean, it isn't a perfect relationship, and there's a lot of times where we hate the person as much as we love them, and that is ground, the foundation of great characters and great stories. That it isn't a perfect relationship, and we go through as much hate as we do love for the person. TRON ARES doesn't do that at all, and I think that's a good example for other writers out there to take a look at the film and see how that part of it could have been what really makes a great story. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put any spoilers in this reaction review, but yeah, take a look at the film, and I'd like to hear what other people thought of the film. And otherwise, yeah, have a look at one of my favorite spots in Tokyo, the top of the Takashimaya building here in Nihonbashi, Tokyo. While TRON ARES is not a particularly great film, it's not all that bad either. I mean, it has this grand visual spectacle, especially when the AI world enters into the real world as this maleficent force bent on cutting through anything to successfully meet its prime directive. And the soundtrack is great. I mean, 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, you can't really go bad with that. So sitting in the theater as this visual spectacle and just enjoying a great soundtrack, I mean, you're not going to lose out if you go to the movie theater to watch the film. But at the same time, there's just so much, not necessarily bad writing, but flat writing as it is. But yeah, TRON ARES, latest release here in Japan, October the 10th, 2025. If you've seen the film, post your thoughts in the comments, just to, get something enjoyable, so to speak. TRON ARES, I think a very useful guide for writers when putting all of their ideas together to tell a coherent story, at least, so that anyone from anywhere can understand the surface and deeper levels of a story, is to consider the 3 main questions that the main character asks. And looking at the film TRON ARES in this way, asking about the 3 main questions, we can see why the story fell a bit short and flat by the end of the film. And so basically, at the beginning, you have the main character, ARES, ask the question, who am I? And he gets his answer from the programmer that he is the master controller. And he's given a directive to search out the means of making his lifespan, so to speak, more permanent beyond the 29 minutes. In the story, ARES and the other creations of the artificial intelligence only have a 29-minute lifespan. So it brings us to the second question of where is the source code, the code that will enable him to live much longer beyond the 29 minutes. And that is, pretty much the second act of the film, trying to locate the source code, retrieve it, and use it for what main character ARES intends. And in that process, he starts to be conflicted about his sense of programming and what his directive is supposed to be. And then here, in films, 3-act structure, if we follow the 3-act structure, this really points to the shortcomings of TRON ARES. And that is, it doesn't really have a third question to show, the development of the main character in this perspective, the main character ARES. The third question, there isn't really a third question that can really, act as a signpost of the character's development. And trying to remember the third question that could really flesh out the film, there isn't any. And this is where I would ask you, if you've seen the film, is there actually a third question, that goes from who am I to, where is the source code? What is the third question? And that is pretty much how I would summarize the film TRON ARES. It's, it's pretty much what you can expect from Disney these days. Repetitive, flat storytelling. But I don't know. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments. TRON ARES. And I think the upcoming release in Japan after this, it's pretty lackluster in the last quarter of the year. But thanks for listening, and catch you in the next one.